Just before we get started, I think it's important to let everyone know that we are of sound mind and body, and the events that we talk about this evening are not concocted from any drug-induced hallucinations. We are not drunk, we are not high, we are not on speed, weed, or any of the laughing gas that is going around nowadays. The movie we're going to be talking about is truly high on its own supply and sniffing its own farts. Welcome to Talking Silence, y'all.
On Talking Silence, they unravel the tale. Every twist, every turn, never fail. Movies, TV shows, and lifestyle. In the realm of Hannibal, they find a big out. On Talking Silence.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking Silence. This is the limited series where myself and some friends review every piece of media starring the bad doctor, Hannibal Lecter. And we have finally come to whatever the fuck this is. 2007.
I literally thought, not to cut you off, but I literally thought you were going to say piece of shit media. I literally thought you were going to say that.
Yeah. But I'm 1/4 of your co-host. My name is Ryan Cam. I am joined by Jason, the old millennial. Jason, how you doing?
Doing good.
I'm joined by Sinestro. Sinestro, how are you in your awful movie?
Hey, you know what? This movie is 10 times better. Like, I would rather watch Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. I'd rather watch this movie right here. Wouldn't you, Matt? Wouldn't you rather watch the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern over Hannibal Rising?
I would rather watch X-Men Origins Wolverine than watch this piece of shit boring.
You what?
Maybe I was wrong about the illicit substances part because clearly these two are on some substances. But
you thought that was better. You think Green Lantern and X-Men Origins Wolverine are better than Hannibal Rising?
Hannibal Rising runs circles around those two.
You mean the opposite is what you're asking.
I would watch this movie 1,000 times more than Origins and Green Lantern.
You're fucking high, okay? It's like, Matt, seriously, me and Matt are both like this.
I have to introduce Matt. Matt, okay. How are you?
I'm good, and I love the intro. I can never get tired of it, even though my name's not credited on it, and I'm known as a regular now.
We'll talk to our guy. Okay?
We have about.
I had to get that out of my chest.
Let's talk to HR.
We have about 70 spin-off podcasts planned for this channel, so you'll be squeezed in there at some point. We are all on balloon juice tonight because that is what watching Hannibal Rising will do to you. If you're not convinced, well, just hang on. We will convince you. But first, here's a little bit, just a taste of what we had to endure. This is Hannibal Rising.
Good evening, Inspector.
Dude, that fucking trailer was better than the movie. That was me. That's literally me watching that movie.
Oh no, I fell asleep. I forgot what we were even doing. Oh yeah, small talk. Okay. No, wait, that's not small talk. Honestly, I don't care what episode of Small. I'd rather be talking about an episode of Small Time's bad than talk about fucking Rising.
This is all the more reason to have fun and laugh about it.
I mean, seriously. By the way, the reason why this is so bad is because this was made because the Dino De Laurentiis. Yes, we all know who that is by now, right? The guy who gave us Manhunt and then gave us Red Dragon again. Because then he's the idiot that sold the rights to Silence of the Lambs to MGM for like nothing. So basically, yeah. So Dino De Laurentiis is like, hey, it's been a while since we had a Hannibal Lecter film. Red Dragon was the last one. We should make another one. And then he told the Arthur. The Arthur's like, I don't have any more ideas for Hannibal Lecter, really. And he goes, well, we want to make something. We'll hire a writer and we'll figure something out. And he goes, no, I'll figure something out. I've been thinking about an origin story. And then he goes, well, I'm telling you now, you got like 6 weeks to make it. And so the Arthur went and rushed and made this book within like 6 weeks, and they had it out. And the book, by the way, the book did not even come out until the movie came out, because the book was written, and then he told the writer, yeah, he told Arthur, can you write the screenplay for the movie too? And the Arthur's like, I've never written a screenplay in my life. And he said, you'll figure it out.
Well, that explains it. You got an author, novelist, who's never written a screenplay in his life, writing this fucking movie. Yeah. Now you know why.
Well, let me read off the synopsis before we dive into the plot of this thing. After the death of his parents during World War II, young Hannibal Lecter moves in with his beautiful aunt, we'll get to her in a second, and begins plotting revenge on the barbarians responsible for his sister's death. So, yeah.
Yeah.
This movie was certainly something, all right. It was far...
Aside from falling in love with his step aunt, but the plot of the revenge story sounded intriguing, but the movie itself was fucking crap.
Well, my general thoughts on the movie for me, I'll start off with, it's entering so bad it's good for me. Like, I got such a kick out of watching this. Like, as soon as he took the samurai mask off and put it on his own face, I'm like, this is the game we're playing. Okay. And,
are they they literally had that foreshadowing covering his face in a prison when he was in an asylum to prevent him from eating people?
Are you really surprised that they?
No, I'm not surprised. Well, like what? It's so fucking on the nose.
But I'm in so bad it's good. Matt and Jacob's stances are pretty well realized. Jason, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't hate it as much as I think Matt really hated it. I was in the kind of camp where I was like, I didn't really need this at all. I don't know. This wasn't the origin story I really needed out of Hannibal Lecter necessarily. And yeah, it's definitely, I think, could have been paced better. I agree with that. I do like a good revenge story. That's the best part of the movie is I'm all right, let's get some revenge. I'm all about it. Let's get some revenge. I like Crow, I like some of the revenge movies like that. So I didn't hate it, but yeah, it definitely was not a good movie necessarily. Not a movie I would want to watch again for sure. And I should say, I almost was more disturbed by this movie than the other ones, which is saying a lot because they're all disturbing stories. I mean, because we're dealing with cannibalism, of course, a lot of times. And the cannibalistic story in this one, I think actually disturbed me more. And to a point that, I probably would never go back to this one because of that, amongst other things. I don't know if you guys felt that way at all.
Oh, I would. There's reasons I would never go back to this, but it's not because I was horrified. I was more or less horrified.
Okay.
Me and Matt
because I was so fucking bored out of my mind. I wanted to turn it off and not finish the rest of the movie. Kills had some moments, but they weren't as impressive as I was expecting.
I would say every time there's a kill, I'm like, ooh, it gets interesting, and then it goes oh, and then after the kill, it's oh. No.
But also, I'm all about having revenge story. I ate it up, but this one was did we need a revenge story? I completely throughout the whole movie, I forgot that we were still in the middle of a revenge story. There's still a lot of shit going on, and
there's so much going on in this movie. And
why do I care?
There's
the revenge story. The revenge story in question, just for context for the audience, is that Hannibal Lecter had a sister named Misha. We didn't know about her before then, and she's not important for later. But it's impetus for Hannibal Lecter to start eating people. That's the catalyst, and that's the reason that.
Hey, we need to know why he eats people. Why do we need why do we need a whole fucking movie of it when he could have just explained it without having to visualize showing us why it happened?
Yeah, I will say, just like in Silence of the Lambs, less is more.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Which, by the way, I will say in the TV show, they do the storyline better in
they do?
the TV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They don't do Hannibal Rising. They don't get a chance to do the whole season of Hannibal Rising. But in season 3, they mention and you see his aunt and all that stuff. And they do bring a lot of the backstory and stuff from that into season 3 of Hannibal Rising. and they do that, but it's not like you'll find out what happened differently. They go a different direction with Hannibal Rising in season 3. Like they don't really go do it, but they touch upon it in season 3 of Hannibal. And I will say though, it makes more sense. Like you actually, because it belongs to this Hannibal versus Anthony Hopkins, which it feels is like a tag along. Like, oh yeah, we which to be fair, this was not in the story. This was created in 2006. This was created. This book came out in 2006. Silence of the Lambs and Red Dragon came out like in the 80s and 90s to be a feature film. And so I think what's wrong with this is like, because the book is kind of different. And by the way, I've only read the book once. So like I said, I know like every other book. I had to literally, before we started, look at cliff notes on Wikipedia and be like, to refresh my memory.
You got to read the abridged version.
Yeah, because I forgot. Because I'm like,
hey, that happened. I do that too. And every once in a while, when I listen to an audiobook, I don't remember everything that happened.
Because this is like one of the worst books. I don't think I remember this book either. But I know one thing is that they changed the death a little bit, and like his aunt in the book kind of does things. He's a monster because he bites his cheek at the end. And he does the carving thing and he bites the cheek. But then basically what happens is he wants to leave the guy to like suffer for killing his sister. He doesn't kill him. He's like, I'm gonna let you suffer for the rest of your life.
That was in the book?
Yeah, like he said, I'm gonna take him and then I'm gonna cut a piece of him. And then I'm gonna come back every year and then I'm gonna cut a piece of you off. And every year you're gonna have to, and every year I'm gonna just you're gonna be left.
That would have been so more better than what we saw at the end of the movie.
The boat does still blow up because the aunt basically says, "You're a monster now," and then the boat blows up. And then of course I think Hannibal Lecter then like somehow got the guy off the boat and then chains him up in his uncle's tunnels. And then basically because apparently the uncle has like a garden like with tunnels in it, and so the uncle basically. It has him chained up and everything, and so basically he comes back and like basically Hannibal Lecter like tells the aunt blows the boat up, and basically like the aunt basically is declared dead, I guess, because you don't see her ever again or something.
Yeah, like I was wondering where the hell is she?
Like they kissed, but then like she thought he was a monster and they blew up the boat. It's a weird freaking book.
It was weird, and especially are we going to talk about the samurai scene? Well, because it almost seems to me like are we watching the fucking Last Samurai with Tom Cruise? Like what the fuck is going on? Especially when he was taking out that butcher, the way he was holding that sword, that stand looked so fucking off. It felt like he'd never had a proper training. Look, I'm no expert on samurai, but I've seen the way people hold the goddamn thing in their stance, and it did not look right at all. Is it just me, or did you feel the same way?
Hey, I drew a picture of you. Can you throw some blood on this? I'm like, he's kind of dying right now. Your priorities are a little bit out of whack there.
Basically, what like the ending is like kind of different. Like for instance, like he's arrested by that cop, and like because there's an outcry that he was a war hero for killing all the Nazis, he's freed. Which I'm like, that would never fucking hold up just because people think you're here. Yeah, and then he goes to John Hopkins, and after he finds then it ends like him going to Baltimore, Maryland, which I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Then why would he be a serial killer going, I like killing people. I should do this for a living now. Like it just never goes there. Even in the book, it never explains why he's a serial killer. I feel like there's better version of this. Like I kind of would like to have seen a different writer approach this, because I think a different writer, we could have probably seen a better, Hannibal. Because obviously, if you were writing it, wouldn't you make him a serial killer, the villain of the movie?
I mean, yeah, it only makes sense. But I did want to. We might. I did want to bring up the guy who does play Hannibal, Gaspard Ulliel. I probably butchered that, and I'm sorry, but he is sadly no longer with us. He passed away in 2022, I believe, due to a skiing accident. So rest in peace to him. I think he was given subpar material, but I think he had some good moments and scenes, and I think those should be acknowledged. In certain, and I could be crazy, but at certain moments, I low-key thought he looked like Crispin Glover. Like if you squint.
I was thinking, where does he look like? And when you said that, I'm like, fucking Willard.
That might have been his son. He kind of would look the part.
And look, he looked like if this was like a Back to the Future prequel, he would have made a great George McFly. But like seriously, like he looks nothing like Ryan. In post production, put a picture of him and put a picture of Anthony Hopkins, and just like do like a compare and contrast. Do these two look? Does this guy look like this guy would ever grow up to be this guy? I'm just saying.
Yeah, it was bad at casting, and also he barely learned any English, and you could totally tell from the dialogue standpoint.
It's like the scene from The Office where Michael Scott's like, corporate needs to tell you the difference between these two images. Cuts to Pam. They're the same photo.
They're the same.
like there are some great castings. Like Michael Fassbender looks like Ian McKellen when he grows up. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Next, James McAvoy is believable to like you believe he can grow up to look like Patrick Stewart, even though sometimes people say it's a fucking reach.
Which I disagree. I thought he played it out perfectly, and I bought into it. But yeah, you could have cast in someone that can look the part and act the part. We've seen that happen many times before when they cast an iconic role in the younger version, and most of them do pull it off, and most of them don't.
But hey, Ryan, do we want to continue or?
But also, let's talk about the origin. It almost like going back to what Jason brought up on off camera, that they kind of took some of the similar idea from the first X-Men movie, and especially First Class, about Magneto's backstory in a concentration camp. Something similar during World War II. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. This movie is like two movies I thought of when I was watching this. It's basically like The Wolfman from 2010. Which, by the way, actually, you know what? That's fun. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Because The Wolfman came out after Hannibal Rising. My bad. I was going to say, but it just reminded me of The Wolfman from 2010 because that movie's so boring and only the wolf scenes are good. And I'm just thinking, like, this reminded me of that. And then it reminded me of, like, someone tried to throw in the Last Samurai storyline.
Yeah, it did feel that way.
Somewhere Quentin Tarantino saw this movie and goes, I can make a 10 times better movie with Brad Pitt.
He's like, hold my beer.
So just a heads up, Jason's internet went kaput on him. So he's going to try and get back on, but I'm sorry about that. That's out of our hands. But if Jason can get back on, I will bring him back. Speaking of, here he is.
Speaking of devil.
I'm back on.
Jason! My special boy, Jason Voorhees.
My special boy.
So, Jason, we were just talking about the fact that Gaspard Ulliel, the guy who plays Hannibal, he looks like an off-brand Crispin Glover. Did you get that?
Crispin Glover. Okay.
I see him
better
in the
looking
movie.
Crispin Glover. Look like a,
I mean, basically,
in a good looking creepy serial killer look.
Like I see him in the movie, and I think he's gonna bust out the "I'm George McFly. I'm your density."
really?
George McFly.
Jason, have you noticed, does not talk shit about this movie once. He's like, I kind of like this movie. You know what?
It feels like he's being a little bit generous. He kind of like
I think this
pulling his
guy really
punches.
handsome too. He's like, I think this guy's handsome too. You know, and I'm like, well, you think he's not alive. He's not gonna like come on invite you to his house and be like, thank you so much.
It's not like he's gonna haunt you in your dreams.
He's not gonna give you a award. He's not gonna give you an Oscar going, someone finally gets my portrayal of Hannibal Lecter. You know, I wasn't trying to go Anthony Hopkins. I was trying to be a sincere villain. Like, you know, I see him as an anti-hero. But no, I will say though, Jason, I do agree that yeah, I do think that there are some. He's pretty. Yes, he is more handsome than Crispin Glover. But then a shoe is more handsome than Crispin Glover. So
yeah.
Like, have you seen Crispin Glover? The man looks like a creepy janitor that work at a high school.
He's more nerdy. Like, I didn't think that way of Hannibal in this movie. In fact, I didn't feel like he really fit. He didn't really fit Anthony Hopkins to me, I would say.
Glover interviews.
You know, Anthony Hopkins has a Welsh accent. This guy has a French accent, and they're from Lithuania. The guy's from Lithuania, the character. So none of it really fits together, I would say.
It's like trying to cast. It's like trying to cast a guy. It'd be like trying to cast Willy. I'm gonna try to bring this up, make this relevant. Remember when they were casting for the Willy Wonka movie that came out like last year, and they cast Timothy Chalamet. Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet.
Well, the people in consideration was Donald Glover, Timothy Chalamet, and Tom Holland. And I'm like, how would that work? Because it's Gene Wilder. Because I don't know about you, but Donald Glover's not white. So, I mean, that would be really the problem there because Gene Wilder is not black. So that would be interesting.
Unless you were gonna do a reboot. Unless you were gonna reboot.
Whole reboot, yeah.
That one only makes sense.
For the Gene Wilder film. And that's like, I would love to see that because it would make no freaking sense at all. It'd be like, he's going to turn into Gene Wilder one day. He's going to go white. He's just like,
but also with the
Michael Jackson.
Speaking with the casting with Wonka thing, but it almost reminds me more of the Johnny Depp casting of Willy Wonka. Like, you wanted him to be a likable character, but he comes off of a bit of a creepy vibe.
Yes.
Not like I would not want him to be around my kids if I ever had one.
I just thought in like a parallel universe, Donald Glover is Willy Wonka and then gets cast in Blazing Saddles as the Gene Wilder role. I probably shouldn't be thinking this, but here I am.
It would make sense though, because it would make sense because Blazing Saddles, the idea is all the black people in Blazing Saddles are smart. The white people are dumb. It's kind of like a reverse racism where it's really racist towards white people. The black people are actually the most intelligent people in the movie. Like
The
all the
sheriff is
white people are
near.
And he said, the sheriff is near, everyone. He says, not what I said. I said the sheriff is. And he goes, I'm just like, it's like, I just love that movie because when people say, oh, is it racist? I'm like, dude, it's racist towards white people because it's like Mel Brooks said, I made it to offend white people, not black people. Yeah. Because black people are the smartest people in the room. Like literally, Cleavon Little is the smartest character in the movie because he literally just like because he looks at these people and just ignorant, which I think is so funny. Like I honestly laugh so hard whenever they move the town. They move the town over and then they attack the town and then all of a sudden they're like, that worked, everyone. And then they go into but that's a great film. If you've never seen Blazing Saddles, any of y'all, it is so funny. It's an old movie from like the 80s or something. It's a parody though. It's very much a parody though.
Never mind like that shit. Here comes Mungo.
That's Mungo.
Now I definitely gotta check that movie out since you just sold me. No, I've never seen Blazing. I've known about that movie, but I've never watched that film. Now I'm more intrigued to watch it.
He lost a gunfight yesterday, and he goes, this kid says, kid pulls a gun on me and says, stick him up. I used to be the fastest shot in the West. And then a kid says, stick him up, and I turn around, little bastard shot me in the ass. And then I started drinking. I was like, I just started laughing. I'm like, I'm going to watch that tonight. That's a funny movie. I'm going to watch that tonight.
Well, luckily, it's on Paramount Plus, so yay me.
I shoot with this hand.
Oh, that's my favorite part. Shoot with this hand.
He says, are you okay? Are we black? Yeah. Then I'm okay then.
Oh man, all these jokes out of context hurt mad.
He's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
I used to like two things, screwing and playing chess. Let's play some chess.
Boy, is he strict. But
anyone moves, I'm gonna blow his head off. And don't somebody say I'll blow him right off. I can't say the language he said, but like he said, and they're like, he's like, oh, don't blow his head off. Don't. Oh, please, man. Please. By the way, he does that to himself. That's the context. He does it to himself. Puts a gun to his head. And says, "Don't anyone comes and tries to mess up, I'll blow his brains."
Blazing Saddles watch party on the channel.
Yeah,
we need to do that. That honestly, I would do that. That's so funny. Matt, you would love that movie. It's so funny.
Well, it's a
they
Mel
can't
Brooks
make
movie
it today for very obvious reasons, but
if it's a Mel Brooks movie, then it should be funny.
Yeah.
Oh, of
course. It's mostly the language that would be people that have problem with. Not necessarily the subject matter. It would be the language. Because they drop the N-word.
We do need to get back to Hannibal Rising, so let's.
Why do we have to? Okay, why can't we talk about a good movie? Okay, we were having a good time talking about a good movie. I was like, oh, you know what? We're going to talk about that piece of shit. I'm happy now. Instead, now we're going to go back to talk about that piece of shit Hannibal movie.
That's why we're here. We can talk about Blazing Saddles another night. Don't make me.
So yeah, we're talking about. So basically, we're talking about this piece of shit Hannibal movie. Hannibal Rising. Yeah, he goes around killing people, and there's a cop storyline that makes no fucking sense.
Oh
Where it's a
god, that cop was so
"This is
fucking
thank
boring.
you."
Cop. Shout out to Dominic West, who plays the cop.
Great
in the
actor,
good
but in a
actor.
shitty role.
I
He
like
was
the actor.
He was Jimmy McNulty in The Wire. He was in John Carter. He's been in things.
He was in
But
300.
even, 300, yes. But
He
man,
was in the Punisher Warzone.
Yeah. Yeah, he was
he
Jigsaw.
was just he was in Jigsaw, yes. But
That was
he's
him.
as
That was
dumb as he's as dumb as a bag of hammers in this. He takes his lie detector test to be like, he's as cool as a cucumber. He checks out. I'm like, I know forensics wasn't a big deal in like the 1950s, but come on.
Give me a break.
Also, but also, do you know that he was in the Phantom Menace? Dominic West. He was He was the Coruscant God. Let's Anakin Skywalker.
Oh yeah.
Right, yeah.
I remember.
He was. He has a small, tiny role in that movie, and I like him as an actor. By the way, if you've never seen him in Johnny English 2, he's so funny as there's a really funny scene with him as the bad guy. Or Rowan Atkinson, like he's supposed to try to poison Gillian Anderson because she's the head of MI6, and he ends up putting the poison on Rowan Atkinson. And the whole thing was she's supposed to put her lipstick on, and then she's supposed to pull out a gun and kill the Prime Minister of England. And then so Rowan Atkinson walks in there and puts lipstick. And it's just like, and then the Prime Minister's like, what the fuck? And then the bad guy doing this because it was supposed to be a female, not a male. And he's just going like this on. Let me go get my purse now. The bad guy's like, it's so fucking funny. That's always reminds me of him just
Rowan Atkinson. But the main villain in Hannibal Rising is played by Rhys Ifans, who was the Lizard in The Amazing Spider-Man. He was Spike in Notting Hill, which seeing Notting Hill for the first time recently and seeing him in this, I'm like, wow, Rhys Ifans got work.
Little Nicky.
Oh yeah, I loved him in
That's
Little
true,
Nicky,
yeah.
dude.
He was the best part of Little Nicky. I liked him.
He was.
He's really good in the House of the Dragon. That's where I see.
Oh yes, I forgot he's in that show. I always forget. I was like, he's in something else and big right now.
He's really good.
Yeah.
He was
He
in
plays,
Snowden. He was in Snowden with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
He was also in what was it, The Replacement, that football movie? He plays the Scottish football player.
Oh yeah, he was in The Replacement.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember him.
He's
Also, what's that one movie in Venom?
He's also
3?
Rasputin in The King's
He's actually
Man.
going to be in Venom 3. Like, where the fuck did Dr. Connors went into another universe? Did Baron Mordo cross over into another universe?
It'll be number 3 or something. I hope it's Dr. Connors that he didn't lose his arm and he's just a pothead hippie that plays the guitar. That would be so funny to me. I'd be like, yeah, Dr. Connors is just in there like, hey, what's up? I don't know, man.
He's Spike.
I mean, we've
He's
seen
Spike
a
from
lot.
Notting
We've seen
Hill
a couple
doing
of.
the pose.
Well, we have seen other characters pop in another universe, which is Morbius, which is fucking Vulture, Michael Keaton. Where the fuck did that come from?
Air
Yeah,
quotes
we'll wait.
Vulture because Keaton didn't show up to that set. Couldn't have.
He shot his prison uniform scenes, and they're like, all right, I'll just go do some ADR. You can get like a stunt guy in the Vulture outfit.
This was this. Line, send. All right, thank you for the paycheck. On to the Flash. I'm like, that was his entire thing.
Kevin Smith once said something funny. He says, what did you think of that Ben Affleck movie Paycheck? And he says, I think it's very accurate. The title's very accurate to the movie. Paycheck. That's what he did the movie for. A paycheck.
Not far off with the title.
That's the very
Props for his honesty. But we also get an appearance from another superhero villain in a superhero movie, Joe Chill. Richard Brake is one of the cannibal soldiers in this, and his death in the movie is brutal. Like, he's tied to this tree, and personally my favorite scene in the movie where he's tied to this tree, and Hannibal's like, "Sing for Misha," and he's like dragging the horse and forcing him to sing as like the rope gets tighter and tighter, and then eventually the rope just goes and just like splits him in 3. I'm just like,
They don't really show him getting split. They just saw the blood splatter on Hannibal's
Yeah.
face. Like, this is supposed to be a graphic movie, but it felt
it's
less
implied.
graphic.
Probably the MPAA probably cut it down, saying, "Look, you got to cut this down
Yeah.
because this is too graphic."
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: what there's one unspoken rule in Hollywood. Richard Brick has to play a villain in every movie because I have not seen one villain. I've only seen one movie where he's not played a villain, and that's in Rob Zombie's The Munsters, where he plays the disco vampire.
Oh, he was in that
my
movie.
God.
If you've seen that scene and you know what I'm talking about, it's an awful movie. But like I just remember every time I see him, like he's only played one role where he's not a villain, and it's in a Rob Zombie film.
He was the creepy dad in Barbarian. If any of you have seen that movie,
Again, a villain.
Oh, Barbarian.
You could say he was the core owner in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, but he wanted to commit necrophiliac in that movie. So, yeah, if you've seen the movie, yeah, he's talking about raping a dead body, saying he gets wet because the dead body gives him wet. I'm like, what the fuck? There's like that movie. And by the way, that conversation goes on for 20 minutes before they get a cow.
Oh God.
Just like, yeah, that's what I always think of that guy. He played the Night King in Game of Thrones. He was the original Night King.
Interesting.
Most action figures that are made look like him and not the other guy, the Night King. But yeah, he was the original Night King for season 5. And then the studio just realized, hey, you know what? The showrunner's like, we could get another guy to play the Night King without having to bring Richard Brick back every freaking year. Because he doesn't speak anyway.
I like him as an actor, so it's always nice to see him. He was Joe Chill in Batman Begins, which is why the lower third. But
he's not a bad actor either.
No,
he's not.
I've heard a lot of people ask him, well, you kind of heard that they didn't bring you back for Game of Thrones the later seasons. And he goes, no. He goes, I still love the show. And you know what? He goes, I got to do more work and everything else. He said, if I would have had to fly out to be in like Ireland, to Scotland, whatever, to shoot the show. So he said, it's nicer that I got to do more stuff. And, it's better that, because he said, I was CGI completely. Like, I would have to wear like a bunch of dots on my face and walk around on set. And then I was never with the actors. And then they said on a green screen. And then they would cut my scenes together. And he said, so I'm happy that I got to, I got to do one season. I did 2 seasons of the show. And then they brought in Stuntman, which I always like that he's a nice guy. Like, everybody says he is a nice guy in real life, Richard Brick. Even though, he's not English. He's English, right?
He's, he's Welsh.
Welsh, yeah.
But and I haven't seen anything Game of Thrones ever, but from what I hear, the later seasons are pretty bad. So talk about a missed opportunity to flash dodge.
The final season was the worst one. That's all we can say.
You know what? People did not like the final season. But you know what? They were happy until episode 5. And then episode 5 pissed everyone off. Everybody's like, episode 1, they're like, yay. Episode 2, yay. Episode 3, yay. And then episode 4, they're like, uh-oh. And then episode 5, they're like, oh, no. And then episode 6, they're like, oh, who gives a fuck? And then that was it. And then that's, and so I think that's what happened. The first 3 episodes, they're like, yay, yay.
It was starting to get good, and then it just
the last season. Down. Which I like the final season, although I don't like the last episode. I think the last episode is where I was like,
just stay really.
But hey, that should be another podcast, Game of Thrones podcast.
Look, you know what? If we finish talking Hannibal, I'll reach out to Ryan and we'll see what he thinks about it.
I'm right here, so
he's right here. I want to reach out to Ryan, even though he's right here in front of me.
I know.
Ryan.
Well, we're talking to Joe third person, like, what would Ryan think about this? And like, I get it. I'm not forgettable, but come on, you're literally on my channel. Like, I'm.
Well,
like,
you
I
know what?
You're guy.
Who's Joe Chill right here? Who's Joe Chill? You literally says Joe Chill right there. So I'm like, I figured that I didn't say Joe Chill. Okay.
All right, hang on. I'll change it. Give me a second.
Don't chill.
Look at this. How about that?
So fuck you, Colin. So Ryan, I was gonna tell you something. So we were thinking about doing a Game of Thrones style thing, Talking Thrones or Talking Game. Game of Talks. I don't know. Game Talk. That might be misleading.
Yeah, that would be like, what the fuck is this? A game show?
They never mentioned video games once. All they're doing is how I fucking Game of Thrones.
You didn't mention video games. Fuck you in this channel. Talking Throne sounds better.
But you know what? That thing that's taken though.
Is it taken?
Is it? I don't know. We'll look and see.
No,
There's a
we,
pod.
I'll reach out to Ryan.
we would have to search that Google search.
I'll
like,
reach
who
out to
has
Ryan
that.
and see what he thinks. If he could, he'll do some research. You know, when I see him next time, I expect this might be a little bit before I see him. But by the way, yeah, Ryan. By the way, I'm just messing with you, Ryan. By the way,
I know. I've known you long enough to know.
by the way, so yeah, this. What I will say about this is, I do like that he does have he kind of grows that surrogate love for his aunt.
Yeah.
Although I don't like the incest shit, but I like that they were bonding and he found someone to bond with. But then when it became like incest, I'm like, okay, I don't want that. Okay, I mean, I get companion. I get
this is not Game of Thrones, dude.
That's what I thought.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Lots of incest.
There's lots of fucking. There's tits. It's not like over the top. Like it's not like a rating on it's not like watching 365 days. It's more or less like it's just like there's brothel scenes. It'd be like watching Conan the Barbarian, the 2011 film, and there's sex scenes.
Yeah,
I will say, I do like this. I do like the bad guy, Reese Ifans. I just wish there was more to do with him because it feels like we don't see him.
Yeah.
We don't see him till like 40 to 60 minutes in. That after we see the flashback.
So we see the third quarter of the movie. But also, what did you think of the plot twist that not only they ate his sister, but he did too? And I was like, you don't remember that? You were like 11 and you don't remember eating your sister?
That's also in the book as well.
Which that was a little odd.
That's pretty wild.
It's very wild plot twist.
Yes.
They try to make it
memory much.
Hey, this chicken tastes weird today.
This tastes funny. It's a little tender.
He must have gotten shot with one of William Stryker's adamantium bullets from Origins.
Yeah.
Still a better movie.
No, it's not.
Did you understand that he got shot in the back, but it didn't hurt him? Did they reveal why?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? Like, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Like, he got shot in the back, and then he just walked up like it was nothing. Like, it's just a scratch.
In the book either. He doesn't get shot in the book either at all. I don't know where the fuck that came from. I'm like, what?
I thought maybe he had armor on, but I didn't see any armor on, so I was confused.
Yeah, he just took his jacket off, and there's no armor on him.
Okay, that's what I thought.
You know what? I really think.
Is he fucking impervious to bullets?
This movie makes no sense. I would not be shocked if they said. I mean, to be fair, look at Red Dragon. Edward Norton stabbed him, and then shot him a couple of times, and then he does this. And like you see his eyes open and everything. I'm like, how did he die? But you could just say, well, he was stabbed with poison arrows, so that's probably why he was paralyzed. You could say that. I mean, Red Dragon, you could explain it. This one, you're just like, okay, he's supernatural, Hannibal. Okay.
They were like, hey, shut up. Like, the people in the writers like, oh, hey, shut up. I need you to get all the way off my back about it.
Also, apparently Thomas Harris has kinks. Has an incest kink like George R.R. Martin does and George Lucas. Because literally, like, this is the second time we've introduced incest in his book.
No.
Like, literally. To be fair, George R.R. Martin has incest in his book, and that's a lot of that. And so does George Lucas.
Well, he made Star Wars, and then later after Empire, he made an incest thing. Like, come on, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Maybe that's
you intended it to be Luke and Leia to be have a little bit of a love triangle in the first two, and then you decided to make them twin siblings.
Maybe that's what's taking Martin so long with the last book. Like, he's plotting out all of the incest stuff.
This is probably people. I guarantee the people in the comments are like, "What the fuck is going on with this incest topic?"
Well, to be fair, Thomas Harris does it too. So,
like, me in the future, put in post the clip of Duck Dodgers going like here, and here.
incest everywhere, incest. Yeah, you better I just imagine South Park sketches where George R.R. Martin's like, incest here, incest boobies over here, wieners over there, murder and violence over here, but keep that to a minimum. We have to have more incest. Sir, don't that's a little sick, man. I mean, come on. No, this is my king. I mean, this is like art here, okay?
This is real
And
rules.
send me the episodes first.
I mean, I don't know what George R. R. had. I didn't know what George R. R. Martin's childhood was. I have no idea what George R. R. Martin's childhood was back then, and how he was.
He must have been a big fan of the of Taboo, the movie, because that must have been like his thing back in the day. Because he must have been a big fan. He's like, I'm gonna write a whole novel with this shit in here. You watch. It's a song called Ice and Fire. Watch this. The first episode, brother and sister fucking, but anal style too, and in the ass.
Oh man.
You know, it's like, you know, that's in the book movie. That's in the first episode of Game of Thrones, by the way. I'm not making that shit up. That's the first episode. That happens in the first episode. Where I'm just like, but I'm just saying. Spoiler. I won't say who, what, but yeah, that's the first episode. I'm just saying, like you know, like Thomas Harris. By the way, at least Thomas Harris, he could back his stuff up with like, well, this is a weird storyline, you know. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know it. But I think all three of them are. Like, what the fuck's up with you three?
What was your childhood back in the day? I would love to know. You got a little skeletons in the closet that I don't know about?
I just imagine Deadpool, like, you know, him laying in bed with Vanessa and says, sometimes you just got to wonder if, like, George Lucas had a thing for one of his cousins.
Luke had sex with Leia, his sister. I'm pretty sure Luke and Leia boned.
It was like literally Star Wars took place in Alabama.
Okay.
What's going on, Ryan?
I think we shouldn't go down the rabbit hole any longer.
Going back to Hannibal Rising, the ship. Basically, I do like that, like how like at the beginning you see the war, because I thought the cinematography at the beginning didn't it feel like sometimes this movie was taking place like they were using the same cinematography from like Saving Private Ryan, because it was so dark. I'm like, this feels like a completely different movie from the next half we get. It feels like they shot the first half and then they're like, now we want to change cinematographers to match our vision. And then they brought another cinematographer and said, hey, shoot it now like it's the Wolfman from 2010.
Yeah, a generic fucking monster horror flick.
Yeah, don't you want to make Hannibal Lecter like the villain? Don't you want him to have murderous urge? Like, what if he kills his aunt? Like, I was watching with people in the room and they were like, is he going to kill his aunt? I'm like, no, he doesn't kill his aunt. And they're like, but he's Hannibal Lecter. I'm like, I know, this makes no fucking sense. Like, why would he keep her alive? I guess because he likes her. But like, she in the book, she calls him a monster. And and then like she blows like, wouldn't he kill her then? I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, it kind of just makes you. I do like that he has compassion for people. Like he insults, like when a butcher insults her, he ends up like just slicing the butcher up until he apologizes, and then he draws a picture of him cutting his head off, which I'm sure Ryan Reynolds.
Your name is Butcher, right? Yes. You said something about my aunt's crotch in the market, right? Yes. Off of your head.
And like, you remember that he drew the picture of the head, and I'm thinking, I just reminded me of Deadpool, of like in the test footage for Deadpool when they, you know, the leaked footage, and when he drew the picture of him cutting the guy's head off, and he just held the picture up and went.
Well, no, he did that in the movie too. Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? I remember that part. Yeah.
Yeah, because they literally redid that. They like recreated from the test footage from the movie. Yeah.
But the joke was funnier to me when he did this one. He was like, it was slow motion, and he saw the biker, and then he went, he put the picture up, and then did this, and then did that. I thought that was much funnier, but I guess that they had to like, let's do this a little bit different, make it a little tiny bit, you know. But I thought that was, but yeah, I do like enjoy that he was going after Nazis, and I thought the horse scene when it ripped the guy's head off, I thought that was pretty good. I thought the drowning scene, I was just like, I don't care about that. I mean, I've seen drowning scenes 1,000 times.
What about the one that he just stabbed that wolf up his first chin from his skull?
That one was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then just leaves at the end.
And the gun is
when he was trying to get him to grab that gun from the stove.
I thought it was gonna be a hot gun like that, and that was but then he just stabbed him. So I'm like, okay.
When he wouldn't be able to grab it, he'll burn his fucking hand. He should put the gun in the hot stove.
Yeah.
It'd be better though if they made it like if they made the water death if he turned on like acid or something, the water acid was eating him alive.
Oh, that would have been more fucking brutal right there.
Yeah.
And you see like his eye, like his body decaying in the water, and then his eyes just eventually sunk out, like you
Stuck
know,
out like from Total Recall when he was running out of breath. Arnold's like,
Me in the future, put in that clip for context.
it looks like one of the Sour Patch Kids or the Garbage Pail Kids.
That scene.
he does the Arnold Schwarzenegger scream like,
He does.
Consider that a divorce.
Looks like the Johnny Cab. Looks exactly like the Johnny Cab. Which, yeah. So, does anyone?
I know I'm running out of things to say about this movie. I feel like we
Jason, do you want to say anything else?
Yeah, I think we have to. Yeah, there's a couple. It feels a little over the. I mean, you're gonna agree, probably a little over the top at times. Like when he puts that mask on, and I swear he looks right in the camera, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like I think he looked right at the camera with the Hannibal mask thing, and he purposely just gives a creepy smile. Like that must have been the direction. Like give a creepy smile as much as you can towards the camera, and I was kind of like, "Okay, we get it. You know, you're like evil, kind of." But
he looks like he was giving the creepy smile of Jim Carrey, what you brought up earlier.
I don't know how he does it.
Does the Jim Carrey smile from The Grinch if he were a serial killer?
Like this, like
or like have you ever seen Skarsgård do his smile from It?
It.
Yeah,
It's a creepy smile when he does it. It's like, I was like, oh no. Yeah, and I'll say never bring a knife to a samurai sword fight. That's my big take.
By the way, doesn't it look so stupid that he put the samurai mask on?
Insert the more you know rainbow after what Jason just said. The dun 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 dun.
Doesn't it look stupid though that like they put the mask on him as a nod to like, hey, you get it? Because he wore the Hannibal Lecter. It's a nod to the Hannibal Lecter mask.
Get it?
Market that image of him wearing the mask, going like this, going before.
It was a fourth wall breaking right there.
It was.
To quote the late great Robin Williams, at that point, even God's going, "Do you get it?"
You get it?
And by the way, I remember seeing TV spots where they had Anthony Hopkins' face, and then it switched over to his face.
I remember that too. I did remember that spot.
I just showed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I was Anthony Hopkins, I'd say, unless you're gonna fucking pay me to do that, you better take that shit off because I'm not in this movie and I have not been paid for my likeness. Well, I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, he probably did not get paid. He should have sued them.
I'm 100% sure he did not get paid for that. I'm sure he didn't even. I'm sure I probably didn't even know about it. He probably was off doing something else, and someone probably told him after the movie was already out on DVD. Hey, you know that they put your likeness on the poster, right? That movie. There's a movie, another Hannibal movie come out. I've never seen it. Apparently, nobody else seen it either because it flopped in theaters.
No one saw it.
Oh, nobody saw it. Yeah.
Like, I mean, can you imagine like this awful, awful film? Which I heard like the director was well. It was the guy with the director was. It's well directed. It's not badly directed. I think it's shot well and it's directed well. I just think it's like there's just so many mistakes. Like the story is where it's the weakest.
It's bad writing.
And the casting was awful. Like they casted the wrong guy as Hannibal, which he didn't do a bad job of saying he is not Anthony Hopkins. You should have casted.
Yeah.
Reminds me like the guy at the beginning who literally threw Hannibal in the dungeon. That guy looks more like they should have casted him as Anthony Hopkins. Then I would feel like, okay, I believe this more. Because he even has blue eyes. This guy doesn't even have blue eyes.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
It's like I just feel like they were just casting the cheapest actor they could find. Like, hey, you want to do this? Yeah, for like $200. All right, cool.
Yeah, I'm guessing he had that good creepy smile in audition, maybe, and they liked the creepy smile, and they're like, "That's what
they wanted to go with."
It has that creepy Tobey Maguire smile from like the Spider-Man 3 outtakes, where he goes like this, like,
"Oh yeah," when he does the.
William Dafoe has a good smile as well.
He has a good creepy smile.
William Dafoe would have been a great Hannibal, even though it would have made no logical sense. He would have been great as a young Hannibal. Like, would have made no logical sense.
But it's Willem Dafoe. But it's Willem Dafoe. He can be great at anything.
Yeah.
He's Willem the goat.
William Dafoe can do anything, including the Joker. The Joker, he's destined to play that character.
Of course.
Like
Why
honestly,
so
I think it's a
serious?
crime.
Why?
It's a crime he has not been asked to play that character.
Did you feel like the
And-
movie kind of abruptly though? Like I thought he was gonna kill this guy, but then the movie ended, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't get a kill." Did I
Well,
miss
I was
it?
trying. I explained this. Okay, in the book, he doesn't kill him.
Oh, he doesn't.
No, what he does is he takes his like the because he carves a letter into him. He carves his sister's M into him, and then basically what happens is the aunt sees him as a monster and says, "Oh, I can't be with you because you're a monster. You're an animal." And so basically, she blows up the boat and he jumps in the water. And then basically you see later on, like after he gets arrested, and then he gets freed because the people are going, he killed Nazis, he's a hero. So then they drop all charges against him. And then he goes back to his uncle's estate. And then he goes down into this tunnels. And then the guy's chained up and he tells him, every year I'm going to come back. I'm going to drink. And he says, I'm going to literally give you enough food and water to live each year. And then I'm going to come back here each year. And I'm going to cut a piece of you off you. And I'm going to eat it. And then next year, every year I will come back until all of you is gone.
Oh, okay.
And then he leaves with him cutting cuts his foot off, and then he leaves.
Oh man.
And he eats it in front of him too. He cuts his foot off, eats it in front of him, and then he leaves. And then he comes and he said he'll come back next year and take the other foot off.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Oh boy.
No.
How uncomfortable if they were to film that.
No, yeah.
I get and instead in the movie, the movie just does it differently because I'm sure the Weinsteins were probably like, no, we're not doing that ending. We just had Hostel 2 come out and they did a similar ending. They literally have a similar scene in Hostel 2 where there's a guy eating a guy's foot.
Okay.
So I'm sure the Weinsteins are probably the ones that says, yeah, you got to change that because the Weinsteins made this movie. They funded this movie.
Yeah.
But I think we can bring this to a close. I think we all agree that we didn't like this movie. To what degree, though, that will be discussed. But
It's like
Jason,
a 3 out of 10.
well, I was going to ask Jason first,
I'm sorry.
Jason, 1 to 10, what do you got?
The way I do my scale maybe is different. 5 is my low. 5 is an F. Basically, 10's an A plus. So I don't go below 5. So just to tell you, you might be like, what? How do you get this high of a score? It's not that high really on my scale, but I'm going to give it a 6.5 because I think it's slightly better than Hannibal and slightly better than Manhunter as a movie. So I give those 6s. I'm giving it 6.5 just to give it slight more, but
I can read Jason. I can read Jacob's mind right now, and it's like Eddie Murphy from Delirious. Can you believe this motherfucking shit?
I'm thinking, are you fucking serious? At least Manhunt had style. I will say Manhunt's terrible, but Manhunt had style behind it. And I will say the third act was a little bit funny to watch with Manhunt. Hannibal, though, I'd rather watch Hannibal in circles compared to this one. This one's just boring. I'm like, Hannibal, at least I was entertained to see Anthony Hopkins.
boring. This had a revenge plot that I can kind of get along with, I guess.
It's like John Wick, but with incest and cannibalism.
Put that on the poster.
I guarantee that would probably sell the movie. It's like John 3DJ. It's like John Wick, but with lots of incest and cannibalism.
But Colin, you said.
Sorry, let me say this joke. Imagine if Keanu Reeves wanted to fuck his dog, and then they killed the dog.
God.
And then he wanted
Oh, jeez.
that would have been basically.
That's bestiality there.
Yeah.
The fuck?
This movie has turned us into people we're not proud of.
We became it's turning us to the very thing that we swore to destroy.
Oh man.
I was just laughing at the joke he just said. Those people in the movies turned us into. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sometimes like Ryan cracks me up. I'm just like, that catches me, and I'm like, oh god. But yeah. It's like a
But
fucked up
Collins,
chocolate.
three out of 10. Collins, you said.
No, my 3 is like Therese Siphons, the opening, and the cinematography and the director. That's it.
All right, Matt. What about you?
Same score, 3 out of 10. I would never watch that again. It was a fucking snooze fest. There's good cinematography. I agree with you on that one. But yeah, it was pointless. Didn't need this movie.
You know what? I'm gonna go 5. Like I said, this is so bad it's good for me. Like I got enjoyment out of it. Like what?
Oh, we
can
know
I
you
say?
enjoyed it. He was texting me saying, "I actually loved. I know this is a revenge plot, and there's samurais in this. Awesome!" And I'm like, "Oh my god, are you fucking serious?"
Let's be clear.
Like they
Let's
should
be
change the
clear.
title of this one.
Let's be clear. This movie is not good, but it was.
Something was rising in Ryan's pants when he was watching that movie.
I knew that joke was coming at some point. I had to come.
But
His samurai sword was at steel point.
That was that.
Well, what did you
The
all think?
the last cannibal on Earth.
He
What
was
did you
hungry.
all? What did you all think of this movie? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to read what you have to say. And in this
He's
limited,
done.
and in
We
this
will be
limited,
next.
in this limited series, we have now come to a very highly anticipated aspect. We're now diving into the Hannibal TV show, which ran on NBC for 3 seasons. And I've been reliably informed that it is very good indeed, and I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah,
But,
I've watched like the first half of the first season and I fell off of it, but now it gets me more excited to revisit the show and watch it all the way through.
All 3 seasons are perfect. It's like eating a gourmet meal. In fact, they're all the episodes are named after gourmet meals. So
Yeah.
that's what's so funny. The first 3 seasons are named after the first. Well, except for like the last season, I think because this first half is named after gourmet meals, but then the rest of it's named after like chapters from a book of Red Dragon. But yeah, but like I said, like I just thought that was that. Yeah, like this show is really like it's very delicate, antique. Like that's what when I was watching Hannibal Rising, I was hearing music from Hannibal. Like, oh, that's from the TV. They have that in the TV show Hannibal. So Brian Fuller must have took like ideas from this.
But also
shitty-
prepared for the show to be a little very graphic, especially when it was on a network show.
Our
And,
scenes-
and also Matt Nicholson playing Hannibal did a brilliant job playing the
Yeah,
role.
he
And
is
he's
so good.
amazing. It's Matt Nicholson too. It's
He doesn't try to be like Anthony Hopkins, Jason.
no, he
doesn't
does not try to like copy off of his performance. He did it his own.
He does the book version of Hannibal. Like he plays him
Right.
like the book version.
And also Lawrence Fishburne's in the show too.
He plays Jack Crawford.
yeah, the show has a loaded cast and is pretty faithful to the Lecter side of things. So we're all very much looking forward to sinking our teeth into that next week. But thank you all so much for watching. Jason, do you have anything coming up on your channel?
Yeah, actually, I just shot right before this. Shot a video of on my 100 favorite movies of all time, covering number 80 through number 6. So after this, some point, I'm going to put that together and put it out tonight. And tomorrow, I'll probably do my number 1 favorite album of all time and cover that tomorrow. So,
all right, Collins, what about you?
Well, you can find him in the bathroom.
Yeah, in the bathroom. Yeah, I'll be hanging out in the men's room bathroom. You know, I'll be giving out laptops and hard drives. You'll never know what's going to be on the hard drives. It could be the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever. It could be something illegal. You know, who knows? I mean, you'll just have to wait and see if you find me. No. Yeah, I got basically. I'm sorry, this movie just wrecked my brain. Now I can't even think. I'm just thinking about the joke Ryan just that real. I'm still thinking about the joke of the John Wick joke. But anyway, yeah, I just did a movie review for Furiosa, and I did the Killer Clowns video game review, and then of course I'm working on. I'm not trying to see Bad Boys for Life, but I'm debating on whether I should do a Bad Boys 2 and 3, 1, 2, and 3 review because I really love Bad Boys 2. So I don't know. I will say, because I just finished Bad Boys 1 and I was rewatching Bad Boys 2 before I had to watch this piece of shit. And so I'm probably going to go do that. But yeah, that's what I got. So that's, and I'm doing this small talk, and we're doing this every Friday.
Yeah. And then Matt has just started up his road to Deadpool and Wolverine, talking about X-Men. That just dropped earlier today as this stream is ending on Friday. But do you have anything else in the works?
Yeah, I'm planning on seeing Bad Boys for Life on Sunday, so I mean, I might think about doing the first 3 movies review. I don't know for sure yet, but I did wrap up recording X2 and X-Men: The Last Stand. I gotta edit those videos. Those will be up soon. I just reached 200 subscribers, and my goal is to reach 500, be on the same playing field with Ryan here, so help me get to that number. But yeah, definitely check out my social media links in the link tree down in the description below.
Yeah, give him a subscribe. Let's get him up to 500. And then as far as this channel goes, the 1999 project rolls on. Next week, I'm going to be joined by Jacob Martin to review Tarzan. Collins is going to be joining me in a couple weeks to review American Pie. I'm going to have a few more guests on as that progresses. Starting this coming week, it's going to be my Road to Horizon and American Saga. I'm going to be reviewing all of Kevin Costner's directed movies. I won't be reviewing Waterworld because he did not direct that.
But
so
still, he funded the damn movie. He told you he funded the damn thing.
I don't care.
No, you're like Tommy Lee Jones from the future. I don't care.
It was directed by Kevin Reynolds. Kevin Reynolds is a breathing human being.
So
Maybe that's his pseudonym. Maybe that's like a cut name he uses sometimes.
Open Range is a good one. There's some good stuff there.
Yeah, but Dance with Wolves was the only film that won him an Academy Award for that movie.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very short road. He's only directed 3 movies: Dances with Wolves, The Postman, and Open Range. So it'll be a very.
I mean, he's already got 4 movies. He literally has like 4 movies planned for Horizon.
Do you know why he wants me to review American Pie? By the way, because he said, "Hey, you look like the pie fucker from American Pie." So, do you want to review the American Pie? And I'm just like,
wait a second, are you the dude that fucked the pie?
Yes, I have said this over again. I do look like, I look like Jason Biggs, Adam Sandler, Shia LaBeouf, and Mark Rober for some reason. Apparently, that's what I've been getting recently. So yeah, I look like a pie fucker, a Jewish guy, a crazy guy, and apparently a guy, a famous YouTuber who used to be an astronaut engineer. So, yeah.
And,
it's like the Renacon from Jane Silent Bob Strike Back. Yeah, he would be in prison. He'd be the pie.
And
I've never been pie before, just so that we're for FYI, you know.
Ryan's trying.
Of course, Small Talk and other Road 2s coming down the road. But for Matt Wyatt, for Jacob Collins, for Jason the Old Millennial, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you all in the next one. You all have a very good night.